welcome back to another episode of Mental Health Monday with my friend Alexis. What's good?
Hi.
Hey, welcome. Alright, so you work for Bouqé. Let us know about Bouqé and the company itself.
So, as you just said, I'm Lex. I'm with Bouqé. We are a cannabis company that likes to keep flowers at the forefront of your smoking experience, because what do you do with your flowers but put them in a bouquet? So for us, we're primarily known for our rolling papers, but we have other accessories such as trays, we have apparel.
Jacket.
See what I did there? But we have trays, glass tips, because for us with COVID and everything, we like to say practice safe sesh.
What does safe sesh mean?
So a safe sesh is, a session you get together with your peoples, or just smoking in general is known as a session. So I could have a solo sesh, which is a lot of what I do, but you can have a solo sesh, but it's literally just smoking. And for us, the safe sesh aspect is be aware of who you're smoking with, and how you're doing so. And why we came out with the glass tips especially is you want to smoke with people, but everybody puts their mouth on the same J. If everybody has their own kind of glass tip, you just pass the J around, nothing's getting exchanged. So that's a safe sesh. So we say practice safe sesh.
Okay, alright, no, that's dope. That's dope, not dope.
Dope.
But dude, I should start using that in real life. Okay, so what are your thoughts on mental health? It could be anything, just,
That's a very broad question.
It is.
I would say my thoughts on mental health are that it's everywhere, it's prevalent, so it's a necessary topic to be discussed. It's a necessary conversation that needs to be had more often. Mental health affects, I'd say, everyone in some way, shape, or form. So.
Yeah. A lot of the reason I find it so important to partner with you guys is I like the quality of your content. You guys are black, be black. You know I'm always on the black tip. You push hemp within the limits of the city of DC, which it's legal. Well, for you guys particularly, it's about the papers. Tell me about the importance of Bouqé.
The importance of Bouqé, and why it exists, or
the papers themselves, the product itself.
So I would say the importance of Bouqé. I still don't think I'm understanding the question, but I would say the importance of Bouqé ultimately is to have a company that provides for you and what you need, but supports you at the same time. I think we tend to, it's a conscientious company. So for us, we're a company that says we're for the people, by the people. We give back to the community. So I would say why Bouqé is important is because we give back to the same community we come from. And how many companies truly can say that? We always say that we're your cool next door neighbor cousins. That's not a next door neighbor. Your cousins that live next door. But that's kind of how we say that we are, and it truly.
Take your time.
I don't know how to best explain that. That was an odd. Sorry, it's not an odd question.
You're good.
It's just wasn't expecting that.
Really?
No, yeah, I wasn't expecting that.
Okay.
I also wasn't expecting that line of questioning, because I felt like it went backwards. My mind works in a very linear way.
Tell me how your mind works. Because we've had conversations about this after doing those videos with you, and we finally got to meet in person for the first time, which is also hilarious. That the first time we meet in person, we get to do the videos, and I'm like, oh my god, you're as awesome as I thought you were. Which I wonder sometimes if that's rude to say that to people, you're as awesome.
Yes. Do you ever tell people that they're not as awesome? Oh, nice to meet you.
And then after that, I was just like, the way your mind works to me was fascinating, because we talked about, maybe reading up on ADHD, right, and relating to content and posts that people have been putting out there and thinking like, hey, is this something I've been dealing with for quite some time? Like, for example, I had a friend who, she called me a couple of days ago. We had a talk, and she had a conversation with her dad about what she might be dealing with, and realizing like, wait, I may have ADHD, and then doing the breakdown of, well, instead of my parents getting me checked up and seeing like, hey, do I deal with something? It was, oh, this particular person's just like that. They'll get over it eventually, or, oh, just sit down. It's not that big of a deal. Instead of like, hey, let's really check this out to see if this person's okay. And we had to have a talk about the pride in a lot of families not getting their kids checked up because they don't want their kids to have something. So if they don't get them checked up, then like they don't have the thing. And it's like, that's not how it works.
It's true.
Yeah. And I know that's funny because like for you haven't gotten evaluated or anything like that. You just see the content and you're like, hey, that might be me.
Yes.
So walk me through the feeling of reading relatable content and thinking, this might be something I want to look into.
That one's difficult to answer.
I got you.
So for me, it's like, I don't know. I don't know if it's so much the recognizing of content. It's like, initially, I think you just start to realize like something's wrong. And then you start to tell people that things may be wrong. And it's like, oh, well, I may, I have things that may be similar, and then you recognize that they have things that may be wrong with them. But I get,
it's a moment.
I'm also thinking like, I feel like social media is such a part of life. At the same time, you also don't know when it blurs together, whether you recognize it from people or whether you recognize it from just seeing it online. Like it literally becomes like a subconscious thing. But I do know at some point I did see it on Instagram, and I specifically like this one person, Connor DeWolf. I
need to look into that person.
Yeah, he has really great, relatable content. He's really funny too. But
it's nice when it's fun.
It is. So for recognizing it, I guess I'm messing up this whole entire story. I feel like you should ask the question again, please.
Walk me through the experience of coming across someone's content and saying, I relate to what's being presented and that thought process.
Okay. So I would say, what do people use social media for? It's kind of like either to see what you want or to see yourself reflected.
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing that people use social media for. And going through the timeline, like I tend to interact with a lot of mental health, I guess, stuff in general. Anyways, I think
if you ever interact with anything, send it my way. I like coming across things and being curious. So.
Oh, I'd say I've started looking at a lot of ADHD stuff now. So now it's like the only thing that comes across my feed. But I would say the thing like. You see things that stick out to you. Like at first it's like, oh, I recognize something is wrong, right? So I think something's wrong. I go look it up online. What do you see? Okay, maybe I'm like on the spectrum of having autism. So then like you start looking at things on Instagram that could be for like autism. Then you start to see that there's similarities between autism and ADHD. And that's when you start to get more content of then like both sides. And whenever you get both sides, you start to see the slight differences that are between them. And then you start to realize, oh wow, some of this content on this side really is applying. Whereas this other side still may apply, but I don't. So I would say, like, it's interesting to then see yourself reflected, but like a lot of people on there also try and be funny about it. So it's like I see myself reflected, and for me, what I perceive to be as a negative, frustrating thing is somehow like, I don't want to say beautified, because that's not so much it, but it's funny, like it's relatable, it's something you can laugh at, it's something, it's, I guess it's comforting to see that other people deal with what you deal with, and if they are laughing about it and it's okay, like at some point, oh, maybe it'll be okay for me too. And then like once you start to think that you may have ADHD or something, I'll have conversations with people in person. And I know there's this one person I spoke with at a cannabis event, actually. For J Mills. It was one of her cannabis events. And
okay. Shout out to J Mills.
Yeah, shout out J Mills. Mm-hmm. Or shout out J Mills. Went to an event that she was having, and there was another woman there that I actually used to work with at my first dispensary, funny enough. And I was like, yeah, I think that I may have this. And she was like, oh yeah, me too. She was like, I have it. And I'm like, oh. So we had this conversation, and basically she was like, oh, I'll send you some stuff, like check this out. And I think I may have actually gotten the Connor DeWolf recommendation from her, but I just know Lucy's Cannabis Healing. I'll give that shout out. Lucy's Cannabis Healing again. We had this conversation, and she was like, check out this content. And then some of the what do you call them, symptoms or
characteristics? Yes,
some of the characteristics, thank you, behind ADHD, like things either really catch your attention or they don't, and that's very much so me. That's how I interpret it. Again, I have not formally diagnosed myself with anything. But as someone
who's doing the research and trying to connect dots and have an understanding themselves.
Yes, as someone who has done that, I recognize that some of the characteristics are very much so like, oh, that's me, and one of them is like, it either interests me or it doesn't. So she gave me these really great video recommendations, and I didn't go watch them. I was like, bet, I'll do it.
And you know what's funny is that's a thing. That's a thing. And the only reason I know that is my girl, she deals with ADHD, right? And she didn't know. So the first year we were still dating, we didn't know. She was just like, sometimes I forget some stuff. I'll just move on to something, and then like 3 days later, I'm like, yo, totally forgot to. And then like after getting diagnosed and really sitting down and connecting dots and doing her own research and getting diagnosed, she told me so many things in her life just made sense. And her grandfather was a doctor. So it's like when you grow up in a house where your grandmother's a nurse, grandfather was a doctor, these people were aware of that, for me, it makes me think of how far medicine and the environment of the community itself has come, that we're finally willing to A, go and get tested to figure out what we have, and B, not be villainized for it. Because there was a point where if you had depression or anxiety, or you were diagnosed with such, you were villainized. You weren't treated as you should still be as a person. There was like a quality of life that those folks back in the day, 20 years back or a little bit less, were not getting. So when I hear about people not getting diagnosed or families not trying to figure things out or be aware of it, I'm not surprised, because it's like, well, if you tell me if I go do this thing, I might be a villain. I'm not going to go do the thing. I don't want to be a villain. I'll leave that up to the Joker, you know? But at the same time, it sucks, though, because there are habits that you can build to help you out after getting diagnosed and people that you can reach out to, and you don't have access to those resources if you're not aware of what you may be dealing with. Mm-hmm. That's like the most polite way to put it.
It's true.
Been giving a lot of thought. Yeah. So that's why, like, I'm starting to put out content when it comes to like autism, ADHD, therapists who do ABA training. What does that look like? I have a young lady who actually is over those therapists who do ABA training that we're going to be interviewing later, because like I want folks to see the hierarchy of, okay, the people who run the business or the people that are over the therapist, what are they concerned and what are we looking to accomplish? So right now for you, I'm like, all right, I have the person who actually does the teaching. I have the person who, undiagnosed, we're not sure yet, just speculating, might be dealing with it. And then, okay, what does the community that they may reach out to one day, what are their goals? Because when people get help, the question is, okay, what kind of help are you going to give me? Not just help. Like, if I'm paying for the service, am I a good fit for the service? Is it a service that I need right now? Mm-hmm. Do I have other family members that may be dealing with this, and how do I broach that conversation? So, you know, little moments like that. Your nails look nice, by the way.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome. So, back on to the subject of, yes. Back on to the subject of health. Cannabis. Different kind of health. So that's more, for me, I consider cannabis, well, no, that's not the proper word. Hemp? Is hemp the proper word?
I mean, what are you referring to? Because they're different things.
Weed, but without the propaganda of how the government presented it for black people to get arrested. Either word works. Cannabis is fine.
I mean, no, if you're talking about weed, you're talking about cannabis. If you're talking about hemp, you're more so talking about CBD. So, not the same thing.
Oh, not the same thing? Okay, explain the differences.
Between
hemp and weed. Do you know the differences? Is that too much of a question? Tell me about
I'm just very literal, so I tend to lose people. Mm-hmm. But both plants are part of their cannabis sativa family. So technically hemp is cannabis. But hemp presents or produces a lot more CBD than it does THC. Okay. So it can produce up to like 8% or something in CBD, maybe even 12, 15. But THC, it'll maybe at max produce like 3% THC. But in order to be legal hemp in the US, it has to be less than like 0.3 or 0.8% THC, which is super silly because 1% THC still ain't gonna do nothing. But
really?
Yeah.
What percent does something?
Every person's different, but 1% is...
It's nothing. It doesn't even register at all. That kind of sucks.
If you have CBD, like if you have that much CBD, no. Like what is... And the presence of THC actually helps CBD, but that's, again, a whole nother topic. Yeah, it's called the entourage effect. So
entourage effect?
Feel free to Google that.
I am going to Google that. I was just about to say, I am going to Google this. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then cannabis itself is like, you know, weed, flower, whatever you want to call it. Mary Jane. Mm-hmm. It's also, again, part of the cannabis sativa family, but it produces much higher amounts of THC, but it also can produce much higher amounts of CBD too. So you can have strains like AC/DC or, why am I blanking right now? Harlequin.
That's one of them.
Yeah, and those can produce like up to 20% CBD. But also, again, with cannabis, you can produce something as high as 30% THC and then like 10% CBD. So you can get much higher ratios. But again, THC is the illegal thing. So that's why hemp legal, cannabis, weed illegal.
So hemp comes from the cannabis family, but it is different from cannabis itself because of THC versus CBD.
Yes.
Did I say that correct? Okay. was enlightening. I've heard it before, but I've never heard someone break it down like how you just did. So when you did that, I was like, oh my,
that was
add that to my notes.
Great summary that you just put together there. Because I was like, you said it so much faster than I just did. Who needs me?
You did the hard lifting. I would have never had it like so concise unless you did what you did. So
yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, there's like so much more to it, but like I don't know. I'm an interesting person, which again I guess goes back to the like ADHD thing and how like and why I think I have it. It's like my mind works very, very differently. The way I always describe it is like I have 100 tabs open in my head at all points of time, like literally always. And if you were to pick up my computer and look at how many tabs I have open, it's the same thing. Like I keep tabs open. Like I feel like at one point in time I had like probably 300 because I'll open up a window and then I'll have tabs, but then it'll get like too full, but then so I need like another window to the I'm explaining way too much, but then you start another set and then it's like, oh no, I'm gonna have this my set of windows for these. Then you go to
and then your computer slows down, and that's always the worst because you know it's your fault also.
It's never my fault.
Yeah, like right now, my phone consistently has 374 tabs open at all times.
Oh, mine has 500.
I've hit the top plenty of times. Have you ever gotten to that point that you hit the 500, you try to open up a window, and you notice that it's taking old windows to open up and just layering over the old windows that are open already?
That's where I'm at. 500 is the highest you can go. If you didn't know that, guys, 500 is the highest you can go in tabs on your iPhone. My phone is full. I'm always like, my mind is interesting, I will say that, and how I process things. I'm very literal, but at the same time I cannot be.
What do you mean by that?
I can be a bit sarcastic, so I'm not always literal, but more times than not I'm literal, so it kind of is just like like why'd you switch? And I'm just like, because it'll be like, you don't understand. Like, no, you understand. And I'm like, no, I really don't understand, and that's why I'm asking you. But it's like, but you understand everything else. I'm like, this is not one of those things. So I just say my mind is like interesting. As I said, it's like you're either very interested or you're not. I like what I like, and I don't like what I don't like, and it's a lot of things. You should probably interview the Bouqé guys and be like, so tell me about Alexis. Like, that would be.
I just picture all of them on a chair, just like right on a couch.
I'm low-key wanted to happen because I'm like, that would be the most interesting interview. They would be like, oh, she's interesting. Like so I'm very much so my person. I am particular. That's the way I say it. And I think it partially comes from probably having ADHD. And I'm usually late too. We'll just add that in there. We'll add that in there, which I've learned is a characteristic. So it's not just me. It's not just me. I was late here today, guys. I'm late all the time, and I want to do better, so much better. But like, I don't know. It's the thing that. So how I say, like, you recognize things are off about you, like something's different. When you start to hear your friends echo the same things, it's weird. Where you're like, oh, Alexis, you're late. And like, oh, okay, cool. I know okay, whatever. I'm late. I guess so. Then your other friend is like, you're late. And I'm like, they're like, but you're always late. And I'm like, wait, always? I'm like, nah. And it's like, remember this time and this time and this. Then you go to another friend and then it'll be like, oh, you're late. And I'm like, but I didn't. You're always. And I'm like, dang, what do you mean? Yeah, or like for me with my text messages and stuff, just messaging in general, like I'm very bad at it. And with my friends, I know I will finally get back to the message and I'm like, I'm so sorry. And they're like, this is what you do. Like, you literally don't answer. Like, you don't answer. Like, you forget about us. And I'm like, no, I don't. Then you have the conversation with someone else that, you know, you're finally getting back to. And they're just like, yeah, girl, you don't answer. And I'm like, but I do. Just, I guess later. Then you start to recognize, like, no, you answer a lot in your head. You go back and it's like, oh, you open the message and never replied back. Oh, okay, cool. And you recognize maybe they're onto something, and if it's not just one-offs, there's something to it.
Yeah.
And you start to recognize it's a characteristic, not just like a thing. Like, no, it's a thing that's starting to make your life more difficult.
Does it make your life more difficult?
I would say I think so, because it gives me anxiety. I don't like being late. I don't like that I don't answer my phone in a timely fashion.
Yeah.
I have high expectations of people, so I have high expectations of myself. So when I don't meet those expectations, it throws me for a loop. Like, it gives me anxiety. So that's when it starts to like impact you, because you're like, I don't know, you just feel on edge. I literally always have that like voice there, like, you could do better though. Like,
man, that voice is vicious.
Yeah.
Inconsistent. So. I actually I had that moment from the story I told you about what happened between my landlord and I. I was like, I'm gonna pack a fucking bowl. I was like, I have not packed a bowl. I actually have a rule. I don't use weed unless it's like, you're on edge. You should smoke some weed. And like, it's not even a control thing. The strands I smoke, when I smoke, I check out. I'm like, alright, I'm cool. I have nothing to do, no responsibilities. I can do this. But for a moment like that, I sometimes use it to reset. I was like, alright, we need to reset. You remember how you relaxed before that whole situation happened? And I have so many papers from you guys, and I'm sad that I don't know how to roll papers.
But we also have cones, bats. So
do you? I will be making that purchase in the future.
Feel free to use the code No Shame for 10% off.
How long is that code on for?
Oh, always.
It's
literally
always? Like, really?
It's literally
so I could like cut a clip from this and put that out and be like, hey, if you guys want to bet.
No shame. Like, have no shame in using that code, y'all. Have no shame.
Come to you guys in person and use the code for 10% off?
No.
Like in-person sale. It's only for online sale. So, hey, you guys, these
no,
questions,
that's real.
You know,
that's
I'm one
real.
of those folks. I'll come like, hey, no shame. It's my 10. It's my 10%.
That would be great though. Just start doing it and be like, no shame.
No shame. 10% off, right? 10?
Yeah.
It was advertised. I came
give me
in
that
person.
50 cent bag.
I wanted to meet you guys, so no shame. Yep.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, you know. Yes. But yeah, no. Only online to my knowledge that I know of. But yeah, we have bats. Because I'm personally the one person in the group who I can roll. I don't like to roll. So I don't. So I get bats.
The way you said I don't.
Yeah,
I don't want to, so I don't. Just know that I don't.
Yeah, because more times than not, like if necessary, like I can always hit up one of the guys and be like, can you roll this for me? Thanks. And I don't need to. Otherwise, I have bats. Like bats are mine.
Well, what's a bat? Describe a bat.
That's what we call our cones. So.
Is that where the baseball jersey idea came from?
I guess in a way, yeah.
I'm having a very enlightened
Maul
right
is the
now.
one who really wanted like the baseball. He's the one who wanted the jerseys, and Maul played baseball.
Really?
Yeah.
I never knew.
I thought you guys were friends.
No, we're friends, but we talk about very particular friend things.
What?
When I sit down, Mo and I have had like deep conversations on our porch, but like Mo and I, we talk about sneakers. We talk a lot about family, our family relationships. We talk about folks having us fucked up as two Pisces. We talk about that very deeply. And since you know our personalities, you can only imagine, how that conversation goes. But and I've talked about him hunting. Yeah, he's told me about.
Oh yeah, he does go hunting. Yeah. It's weird. I'm from Texas, and I have literally never gone hunting. I've never shot a gun.
Really?
But I'm like, Mom, I want to go.
Texas.
Everything is bigger. Look at me. I'm 6 feet tall. What you mean? But I have not gone hunting. I have not done that. So it's on my bucket list. And I keep telling Mom, I'm like, so Mom.
He's great at what he does too.
Yeah, I can only see the pictures. I'm trying to go in person.
Yeah.
Maul, if you see this. Lego? Okay. I just needed him to get the point. Yeah. But yeah. That's what going back to it, our bats. I don't know if that's where the jerseys came from specifically. It could have. It works together with it, obviously.
Are you aware of how beautiful your presentation has been? Like
of our product?
From the outside looking in.
I'd say yes, because
I love the colors and the color grading that you guys have put together.
Thank you. I say yes as the chief customer officer for the brand, because that's where for me, like, and how I kind of describe it is like I'm the people person, but what my focus is like making sure you get the point of the brand, like the customers get the point of the brand, that they understand where we're coming from, and also just to make sure that there's uniformity amongst our representation between, like, Instagram, Twitter, being online, like making sure it's all cohesive and that we're represented, I think, in the best way possible.
Just like this product represents you.
This product represents me? Yeah. What? Me? That's funny. So yeah, I mean, it does represent me. This is Fade. This is like, literally, this is my baby. It's really old. I'm not saying this model is old, y'all.
Can you hold it closer to the camera?
Yeah.
I want to get a little close up. I'm gonna, there we get the good zone. Okay, all right, cool. You could go back. Oh, nice nails. Okay,
thank you.
Yeah.
With the shake well, be well, since I always say be well. But yeah, I say it's old because, like, technically I started making lemonade back in 2017, like really long time ago, and then and then I stopped doing
and tried to figure things out, or were you just making it for yourself? How did that
start? So I was actually assisting a friend in, like, at this time, like, there was a
this good old juncture, I like that word. At this juncture in my life.
this point. No, I would say, like, how I met Bouqé to begin with was through a, like, Cannabis group chat, and we all ended up meeting each other because I plan the potluck. I am, again, the people person. I like getting people together.
Your fro's giving me so much life. I'm sorry, I just had to let you know that. Like,
thank you.
This is beautiful. Yeah. Woo! Whoa!
Right? You saw the flip?
Buoyancy!
You saw the flip?
Okay,
is
body.
It flowing in the wind?
All right, hair. Give it black girl magic.
Yo, I can't with you, dude. I can't with you. So I have lost my place. We were talking about
how you met Bouqé and the group chat that you were part of. You were all a part of.
But why? Why was I talking about it? There was something that led to it from beforehand.
Well, you started with the lemonade, and then you said how I all.
Gotcha. Thank you. So also another thing, I get very off track very easily. So
I keep in mind to stay on track for you guys. Like, when that happens, like, hey, I got you. This is where we were.
Thank you.
It's practice.
I mean, yeah, no, that's helpful because I'm not good at it.
You
But
don't like people who want to do that kind of stuff, honestly.
I mean, yes, yeah. I mean, because it means you have to be paying attention to them. But there are plenty of people that I do like and pay attention to, and still just, again, think it's the ADHD thing there. Because I'll be looking at a person and they're talking, and I'm honest though. I'm a super honest person, for better or for worse. And like, people will talk to me, and I'll just look and I'll be like, I'm really sorry. Can you say that again? I was listening, but I wasn't listening. And they're just like, can't be mad. And I'm like, thank you. Yes, actually, I talked to my best friend about that last night. She was like, that's something I've always loved about you. And I'm like, what? And she was like, you were just honest. She's like, and you do your best to like try and say it like nicely, but like, you're honest. Like, you always say what you feel. And I'm like, I try. I was like, I don't think it's always a good thing, but I literally can't help it. Don't know how. Like, I think there's supposed to be a mechanism
that stops you.
That stops you. And I don't think it's there for me. Because I literally, like, I've tested it out before. Like, there will be things where I'm like, okay, you're not gonna say it. 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 So, I'm just like, it's like the more you tell yourself no, the more I have to do it. So
it starts fighting.
Yeah, so that's where I'm just like, you know what,
Are you sure? Are you sure?
Yes.
So you're sure?
Yes. And I'm just like, you're gonna do it now. That's why I end up saying hi to people all the time. I'm like, they look familiar. They look familiar. Mm-hmm. You should see if they're familiar. You should say hi. No, you don't need to. Hey, are you that person from Instagram? That person I saw, I think maybe once. Mm-hmm. And it's always like, yeah. I'm normally right. But like, you know, going back to how I met Bouqé. Mm-hmm. Yes, how I met Bouqé was through this group chat, and there are, you know, plenty of vendors in there in regards to flower infused products, this and that. And at the time there was lemonade going around, and I was like, you know what? And I was helping with like the production, or not production, but I was helping with like the delivery of it. Like, I was one of the wholesalers for it. And while doing it, I was like, this is good. This is nice. But I think I can do this and potentially do it better. No shade to them, you know, of course. I was just like, your product is great, but I know what I want. I know what I like. And I'm like, if I can do it, why not do it? So I decided to make my own lemonade. And then I just started to do that. And it was quite successful. And then life got busy.
I was going to say, why did you put it down then?
Life got busy. I got like a second job. That's when I started to work at the dispensary, and I didn't realize how much time it actually took to.
What was the I'm sorry.
Because I literally will make these like by hand, so I tend to have them like. Yeah, so like I tend to. It's literally nothing more than like lemon juice and water, or not lemon juice, lemon sugar and water. Like it's lemonade, guys. It's literally lemonade. But yeah, when I make it by hand, it's like, you know, I have all of the separate ingredients and making it in a small batch each time. When people be like, oh yeah, I want 10, and I'm like, okay, yeah, not a problem. Then I have one bowl that only makes 4, and then you're like, okay, yep, gonna do this set. Then I gotta do it again, and okay, now I got this one that does 2, like. So it just became a lot of time, and then like working on the packaging, like the labels and stuff. So
have you ever written this whole process down?
In regards to
just streamlining and simplifying it for yourself.
What do you mean?
The process of the graphics for each bottle. So like, let's say, and this is a wild concept, you were just like, fuck it, we're gonna make a business, I'm gonna hire 2 people to do this, here's the instructions on how to do this, instead of you having to measure everything out each time you do it.
I've thought about that, yeah, of course, but wasn't making that kind of, for me it was like, oh, outsourcing, like I'm doing this for me to have the money. But I totally get it, but like, yeah, at some point that is the goal, but it's not that difficult. I think it's also a matter of like, okay, if it's gonna be faster, just get more of the items I need. So for me, it now also becomes about space. Do I have the space to hold those items? And that's really, yeah. So it's not necessarily that I need to outsource it, that it needs to happen. It's just what capacity can I maintain at that moment? And yeah, like I said, life just got busy, and that's where I was like, we're gonna stay small. But I probably should have continued to go because it was fun. And when I say it, like, yeah, I really like food. So I tend to do like volunteering events, and I volunteered for the Rammies, which is like, so Rammies are, you know, RAMW, Restaurant Association of the Metropolitan Washington area. They have their own award show for the food industry, and it's called the Rammies. So it's like the Grammys for food. And me and my friends, we volunteer for it. And funny enough, this past year we went and I met, what is his name? He's a Hall of Famer, NBA player. But he was there. He came out with champagne, and we were drinking his champagne. It was good. I just wanted to say that. I wish I could remember his name. And people were like, "Oh, you don't know who that is?" Isaiah
Thomas.
Yes, it's Isaiah Thomas. And yeah, I expected him to be taller.
How tall is he?
I think he's like my height.
Yes. So he's like 6'1".
Yeah.
You know, when you're older, your back, you start to do that.
He's like 5'11", 6 foot. You know, for me, the problem is I'm tall. So I'm just like expecting 6'4", 6'5". Yeah. And so I'm like standing there and I'm like,
yeah.
Because they were like, he's right behind you. And I'm looking around, I'm like, where?
You're expecting to look up, not directly
they were like, oh no.
Eye
and I'm
contact.
like, oh, yeah. But he was very, very nice. I was like, oh, I'll have to tell my dad that I saw you. And he was like, oh yeah, tell him I said hello. And I was like, you're saying this like you know this man. You don't know this man. But I was like, this is so nice. Right? So all of this to say, again, tangents. Woo, woo, woo. Back on the road. But while I was at the Rammies, funny enough, I bumped into like one of my customers at the Isaiah Thomas champagne table, and they were like, so this lemonade, and they were like, have you restarted it? And I'm like, I was like, I'm working on it. And they were like, no, literally, like, you need to do it, like, we want it, we truly want it. And they were like, it's the best that we have ever had, like, it's really good, you need to do it. And I was like,
what was this?
That was this past year, literally this past Rammies. So when was that? Maybe September, August, yeah, 2021. And I haven't done the lemonade in probably a solid year plus. I definitely didn't do it through the pandemic. So
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you. So I will say, like, shout out to them. Thank them for like not remotivating me, but like
reinvigorating.
Yes. Because it's not that I never wanted to do this, but to hear someone who's like that passionate about your product, which I'm sure you feel in regards to, you know, GetHomeSafe. It's like when someone says like, I really love this, like, I can't believe what you're doing. Like, to hear someone say that about the lemonade for me was like, I was just making some lemonade. Like, you love it? Like, you love it? Okay. So yeah, I've been doing it since 2017, but I took a long hiatus, and I want to pick that back up. That's kind of like my thing.
Let me know how I can help. I am so excited for you.
I've got to start working on my social media presence, because I created the page like probably like 2-3 years ago. Again, I'm on it. I don't be on it.
Can you send me that page?
Yeah, Fade Infusions.
In my bio, I plan on putting folks I'm affiliated with. That's like the plan. So when you look at my YouTube, I have a YouTube channel that has these are people I know who I fuck with. Like I'm willing to do work with them. I love them. For my Instagram, I'm just like, no, when people read your bio, they should see like who do you work with?
Represent,
like outside of you, like alright, so there's you, the stuff you're doing, who do you work with that you're like, there's a future for us here for the next 2 years. So when you see the tags, understand that's us.
This is like one of, as you know, like I plan to move to another state soon, North Carolina, so I can pursue the cannabis industry there by first starting with like hemp and CBD and then being able to transition into cannabis. But for me, this is like just one of the items under my larger umbrella cannabis idea. Like Fade Infusion is like it's part of this, but like ultimately like my business, me is alt experience.
Okay.
Never really put that out there like that, but alt experience, that's me. It's my initials.
Is it?
It is. That's why I'm excited.
That's tight.
I know. It's like control, delete. I'm the middle one. But yeah, so for me, it's like I want people to have that alternate experience and to enjoy it and feel seen through it, which kind of, I feel like this interview has kind of gone all over, and I
think this interview's been great. Honestly, this is what I wanted though. The interviews. I told
my
you, it's just a
anxiety
conversation
is
today.
at like peak. Not right now. I feel like it's gotten better, but at the beginning, those first like 15 minutes, 20.
You're amongst friends.
I would say to kind of like bring it back to it. I think my potentially having ADHD has made me who I am, and has made me want to have the type of business that I want, you know, like in me saying like I want people to be seen. Like I'm a people person because I like to get people together. I like to see people enjoy each other, you know, to have their quirks, to be different, but like it be okay, it be cool, and that's, I think it's driven by my potentially having ADHD, that I want people to feel seen, to feel appreciated regardless of, you know, where they are, what they're doing. So yeah, alt experience, have that experience, but feel seen.
That's beautiful.
And loved.
That's beautiful that you say that, because especially that loved part. When it comes to what I've created so far, I'm becoming way more intentional with this. But you know that little heart that says hug 'em? When I started GetHomeSafe, I wanted Hug 'em to be the self-care brand. So anything that's like associated with self-care, yoga, sound bowls, smoking weed, like that's what Hug 'em is supposed to be for. And GetHomeSafe is supposed to be like housing the therapist, the information, the education,
the checkup.
Yeah, so what I've been doing is a lot of clips you're going to start seeing.
Checkup and the medicine.
Yes. And a lot of stuff that you're going to start seeing, I'm going to start intentionally tagging certain posts so folks start recognizing, okay, when he puts up a hug 'em, this is a wellness post.
Yeah.
Or a good habits. Because to me, creating good habits is a part of your wellness.
Yeah.
And this is like, these are facts. So if you see the GetHomeSafe post, it's like, all right, he's giving us facts. This is what depression's like, anxiety's like, ADHD, autism. These are facts that he wants us to learn. And then, like, how do I bring that back to the community, which I'm actually working on that right now. Which, stuff like this, to me, matters, because a lot of people want me to show my face more, and I'm like, I give you guys shorts every day. I think you're getting too much of my face, so how about I give everybody around me a chance to talk so people can know the work that you do, where you're coming from. Everything you told me, we're going to have to come back and do another sit-down, because, like, that's a great, amazing idea to really talk on. But maybe a couple of years from now, after, you know, put your big toe in it, and I get well, guys, this is what I did.
Like, you said you're trying to travel anyway. I'll be like, so, update, North Carolina. We're on the farm with... And I'll be like, welcome, guys.
There's going to be a farm.
My acres.
We know there's a farm now.
Oh, yeah. My my dad's side of the family, we are a family of farmers anyways. We used to be tobacco farmers, so...
Farmers.
Just like that. Yes. And don't they have the black dude too?
Yeah.
See?
That's why I did it.
But yeah, my family, like...
Let me hold that.
Thank you. My family are farmers. So, yes. There's land there. I just need to go, I guess, propagate it. And then I actually have a cousin down there. She's like one of the few that like stayed behind to live the country life, and excuse me, she just wanted to stay behind. She also loves horses, equestrian. Yeah, she majored in like equestrian studies. She's got all types of badges and stuff. Like, she's actually really dope. She's been interviewed by like Allure. She's got beautiful skin. Yeah, like my cousin's really cool. But yeah, she stayed behind and she currently like farms herself. So I'm gonna have to move down there and be like, hey cousin, teach me everything that you know, because
you said your cousin had poppin' skin. I was looking at the camera. I was like, well, the camera knows you guys are definitely family.
That's hers is even better, which is the crazy part. Like, I think Allure asked for her skincare routine and something else. I was like, okay, cool. I see you. But yeah, no, that's I'll have a farm. My main dream is to have basil and chickens. I know that's like...
It's very specific. Nice, but that's okay. That's a good start. You know what you want.
Like the wildest farm ever. Yeah. She's got two things, y'all. She's got basil and chickens. But I just want to have eggs. I just want to start out personally for myself to have eggs. And then I want to make pesto.
Pesto.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, goals are necessary. Goals are important.
Just
hearing it for the first time, that's all. Yeah, pesto, yay.
I have very random, like I said, it's a little...
You said I have goals and then we accomplish this. Okay, all right.
You gotta start small.
You do.
Basil, chickens, and then we can grow from there.
Yeah, plus cannabis.
Yes.
Time out. So, in this move to North Carolina, there's going to be concerns because, over here in DC, we're blessed. Weed is decriminalized, still DC, so it's not legal yet, but it's decriminalized, so there's wiggle room. We get tickets where people get arrested and sent away for 10 years. What do you think what pushback are you going to have to deal with when it comes to advocating for cannabis in North Carolina?
I mean, I'm not quite sure because I'm not as well versed in regards to the policy side, but in regards to pushback, there's literally no legislation whatsoever. So I would say that's going to be the biggest issue. They tried to bring a bill to the table last year, but part of the problem is like the lack of, just social equity and then also social justice. Like, I don't believe it addressed past offenders and what would occur with them, but additionally they were looking to bring medical to the market, but they only would allow certain medical patients, where it would be like if you have cancer or very serious like seizures and this, and you're just like, I think that'll be the main advocacy push, and like having North Carolina recognize that you can't call something medicine and not recognize all of the benefits. Like, you can't just say, oh, it's great for cancer and seizures, but then not acknowledge, like, it's great for insomnia and anxiety and PTSD and, like, so many other things. So you can't say it's medicine just because you want the money. That's not how it works. Which, I mean, I say that, but then I'm like, how did Viagra get to the market? And
also, when you just call it medicine, doesn't that cut a community out on the benefits of it if you only call it medicine? So if you say, like, for example, if if you make weed legal for only cancer patients, that cuts away the other groups of people that it could benefit that you listed earlier. In terms of like insomnia, PTSD, other people could benefit from it.
What? I'm sorry.
Basically, that would limit access to who can get access to it in North Carolina if they word it that way.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You would still not have people utilizing the plant. It's kind of like, it's basically the same thing as what Virginia kind of started with. And like, oh yeah, we legalized cannabis, but we don't have any dispensaries. And you can only actually have tinctures. And like, Virginia...
So they did create a foundation for it at all.
Yeah, Virginia started off very, very crappily. It's only after these past couple of years that they're finally getting better. But even then, because it takes years for things to come into play. But exactly. So I would say, yes, it limits those patients, but it limits those patients, but sorry, I'm getting off track because in my head when you were asking the question, I was misinterpreting what you were saying at first and how you were saying like, oh, but by calling it medicine for certain people, because the thing that I feel like should be driven home is it's always medicine. So regardless of who calls it medicine, it always is medicine. Even a person who says like, oh, I smoke it recreationally or whatever, I smoke it for fun, like,
it's still medicine.
Still medicine. Like, you take it for fun. What is that? Relaxation, sleep, anti-anxiety, like, you know. So a lot of those things that we say that medicine has to be for a diagnosed thing, that's not always the case. So it's always medicine. But in what you were asking, yes, those patients would miss out, but they wouldn't, because they'd be doing what they do now, go to the streets. Yeah. But that causes the problem of it's then illegal. So yeah, I would say that's probably like the biggest issue in making people recognize people who consume recreationally are not just, you know, drug users. They use it for a reason, you know. Some people like cannabis way more than they like alcohol. But why can't they use it? So that will be the biggest issue. But I think North Carolina at the same time, they're about money. Think about it. They were a cash crop state. They did nothing but tobacco. So transition from the tobacco to hemp. North Carolina wants the money. So I think if it can be presented in a way that benefits them, it will work out. So that's the thing to just be kept in mind in regards to the advocacy and policy and fighting for it. It's like, okay, I know that they're going to want certain things, but you're going to have to really hold fast to like the things that we want. And that will be the biggest issue, I would say. But that's why I'm going there and I'm trying to join Normal. I'm already getting involved. What does that even stand for? The National something of marijuana legalization.
That took me up. Damn.
I'm like, what does it stand for? I used to carry the Normal card in my wallet, but it's like the National Organization for Regulations of that. But each state has like its own little chapter and everything. And I have already reached out to the one in North Carolina because I'm like, y'all gonna know me. We gonna make it happen.
Look at this business I do. Let's do business together.
And then there's this other group that I've been in contact with, We Go High, North Carolina, which they're also like, they're an advocacy, but also like just kind of like a destigmatization type group, you know. I almost wore that shirt today. It was like, no one should be in jail for weed. And
what does their work look like? That sounds interesting. I went to look into these people that you're mentioning.
I would say I'm not quite sure. I'm really bad at it's like I know that these things are there and I know that they do these things, but I don't know. I'd say for them, I know that they post a lot of content. Like especially reels and things that are it's literally putting cannabis use in your face every day, all day, but in like relatable ways, like
also very subtle ways.
Yeah. Like you know, one reel I'm thinking of recently, it was like, you know, your parents who are always against weed and like the girl is like smoking on camera, but it's this what's it called? The audio is of like, you know, this guy who's like, ooh, I didn't like this, but I didn't used to, but this is kind of nice. And so it was like, you know, saying parents that used to turn their nose up, but now it's like, this is kind of nice. So it's like relatable things like that, because I can imagine we all know some parents or just even adults who are like, no, and then they finally try it and it's like, yeah. But and I think that's another fight that is to be had just amongst people in general, again with that how you view it and how you utilize it, because also with Bouqé and myself, like we're involved with Marijuana Matters, which is another like local advocacy group started by Khadijah Tribble. In working with that group, I have like one of their t-shirts that says Marijuana Matters, and I had an extra one, so of course I'm like, you know what, it's a large, let me give it to my stepdad, like, you know, I don't need the extra one. And when I tell you, every time that he wears it, like my parents always like call me and tell me some story about this interaction they've had. Like they're like, people really like his shirt, like they just keep starting conversations, and like
this conversation has let me know I need more marijuana merch.
Yeah, it's a very interesting, like, because it's a conversation starter for sure. Like when I wore my "No one should be in jail for weed" shirt, like random people, what was that? I think I was in a Dollar Tree or something, and literally a guy was just walking into the store while I'm at the register, and he was like, "That's true," and I'm like, "What?" And I'm like, "Oh,
I feel you."
Yeah, and I'm like, "What is he talking about?" Like, "Oh, yes, I agree. People shouldn't be in jail for weed." But my parents have like told me these stories, and they're like, "Yeah, like you have these stories about these men who are like talking about their experiences of like, oh, I had these brownies with my friends and it was great and blah 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 blah." But then yes. But then on the other side of that is like that same person who will tell a story and is like, "But I'm really concerned about my son. All they do, like, they just smoke every day. Like, you know, I don't think it's good for them to be smoking every day, blah, 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 blah." And it's just like, and then, and I think they were conflicted because I think that their child had also been diagnosed with cancer, so they were using it for cancer, but then they no longer had cancer or something like that. And then it was just like, "But I'm concerned about their usage of the cannabis." And it was like, "But you just talked about having brownies with friends and you were just having fun with it. Meanwhile, this is a person who like was using cannabis to literally help them, and it's a problem." Like and I think that's the biggest fight to be had, like to change people's aspect of like, it's just a fun drug.
That's my PS4 turning on. It's when my TV shuts down, it just takes over. It does that. Yes.
I gotta work on my faces. So.
You're good. Nah, but you bring up a valid point, because that's the intersectionality that folks are not acknowledging when it comes to marijuana and the legalization process and normalizing it in daily life. Not just usage, like the aspects that it needs to be accepted.
Yes. Thank you. That was the word I was looking for earlier. And when I was trying to say the destigmatization, it's the normalization of it. That's what like We Go High does. I think they were the group.
That's a great name.
I like it. It was started by, I don't know if she specifically started it or her partner started. She's involved in the group, but Jessamine Stanley, if you're familiar with her, she's the bigger black lady who does yoga normally in her underwear and naked.
Never heard of her.
Yes, you know her.
I know her.
You have to know her. Like, I feel like you've probably seen her in social media throughout the years.
Maybe.
And I think
social media is different. I actually don't pay attention a lot on social media.
She was, yeah, she was just recently she was in the most recent release ads for Ivy Park.
That's so dope.
I know, right?
That's so dope.
And she's like you would like her. Like, she's a very real person. Like, you know, she's like making it, but she lives in a an RV with her partner and their dog, and they travel across the country, you know, but she just talks about like things she likes, things she doesn't like, just a very candid view. Like, she literally talks how she feels, which is nice. Like, she'll have wedgies, she'll have like, she wears whatever, and she's just like, why should I conform to and so it's like, I'm like, you go girl, I'm over here still like working on that journey, but you go girl. So she helped start We Go High, NC, North Carolina, whatever, but she helped start it, and it's a really dope like a normalization thing that they put out there. I think is really nice and helpful. And they were at the National Cannabis Festival. I'm giving all the name like drop things.
I'm gonna find the pictures and put it in your interview.
Yeah, I think they recently posted a video or a picture on their Instagram.
Make a nice foundation for you to be able to reach out to them. We should work together.
Oh, I've reached out. Don't worry.
You're in your bag already.
Oh, yeah,
that's way ahead of you. Yeah.
I know. Once I found out about Once I found I was like, Alexis, you're gonna move to North Carolina. Okay, if you want to move to North Carolina, like, and you want to do cannabis stuff, you want to work on advocacy, what do you need to do? Who do you connect with? I'm like, well, first off, Normal. Then it's like, oh, okay, Jessamine Stanley, like, because my mom is also like, she's really adorable. Don't tell her I said that. But she's really adorable. Like, she will see articles about cannabis and literally like text me the articles and stuff. Aww. And one day while we were talking, she was like, and you know what I just saw in this magazine? There's this girl, she does yoga. Her name's Jessamine Stanley, blah, 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 blah. She's in Durham. And I'm like,
your mom's in it.
Yeah, so.
My friend lives in Durham.
Yeah, so.
I've been out there.
Yeah, nice. That's where I'll be.
The air quality is nice. Where?
Yeah, that's where I'm moving.
It's so good over there.
Yeah, it's much cheaper than being up here. So, yeah.
I thought about moving to North Carolina 10 years ago.
Yeah, but here you are.
Here I am. DC living.
You gonna stay here?
Who knows? I don't have an answer. I have a lot going on. I couldn't answer that honestly if I wanted to. If I did though, I would let you know. Like, no issue. It's just
sounds like at least 5 more years being here.
I don't know. I have family here now. That's a challenge. That little shimmy you just hit too. It's a challenge. Yeah, nah, for me, GetHomeSafe is meant to travel. It's not meant to just be in one place.
Home is where the heart is. Duh.
It is. No, it is. I take those words very seriously. So I got 2 homes. My homes right now are in Maryland and New Jersey. Because that's where my 2 families are, right? So DC's of course there, but when I say Maryland, I'm talking about DC. But it's both, right? So I was supposed to be in England last year. With the pandemic and everything, I was supposed to travel. I had plans to see and pitch to the community of DC and my followers, hey, this is what mental health looks like across the board. Like in Spain, this is how they handle or don't handle mental health. In New York, these are the groups that are working on it. This is what it looks like. DC, it's pretty aware of DC, but let's bring more awareness to DC, outside of just the everyday. Okay, Texas, what do you have going on the mental health aspect? Is it acknowledged here? Montana, what the fuck you niggas doing over there?
It's huge. Texas is huge.
Is it?
Is Texas huge?
I'm talking about on mental health.
Oh no, I'm just saying. Yeah, you're like, how is Texas doing? I'm like, you're gonna have to do a few stops in Texas.
Yeah, it's just Houston and Dallas. I'm not going outside of those two places.
Austin.
Yeah.
You don't want to go to Amarillo?
I was gonna say I'm not trying to.
You're not trying to hit up.
I mean, I might. You might connect me with some folks.
Paso,
I'm just not trying to go to any sundown towns.
Yeah, I mean, of course.
That's my only concern. Keep that thing with me. But that's not what this is about. So, and then like California, Washington, and sprinkle in a couple of main places that people aren't interested in, but there are communities.
Maine places? Yeah. Maine places?
I have a couple of folks from Maine. But it's mapping it out and doing it correctly. But long story short, Jamaica also. I'm Jamaican. I want to hear like, hey, are we doing anything for mental health? Do we give a fuck over here about mental health? If you want to
have a mental health talk in Jamaica, please let me know. Like, I feel like this would be really great to have a talk over, say, some like escovitch fish. That's a challenge too.
Like, you said that, I was like, oh, we talking right now.
Like, I'm not gonna say jerk chicken.
Hey, I was gonna say you gonna wake up and be like, hey, you want some mackerel? You want some saltfish? You want some dumpling? What you want? You want some festival? The bag of food. You are making me. I am so hungry right now. I do not want to have this talk anymore.
I know. And all I do is talk about food. No, because now I'm thinking about a shrimp patty. Shrimp patty would be
this whole interview I've been thinking about food.
Yeah. That's why I made sure to eat something small while I was on my drive here. Like, that's what took me the extra 2 minutes longer, because I know I said 15 and I ended up getting here at like 17. So
I like your sneakers, by the way.
Thank you. They're dirty.
Yeah,
I need to
clean
them. Thank you. Keep them in the shadow.
So you clean your sneakers?
No,
I didn't know if you were.
I'm not Maul.
Cleans his sneakers. Wow, Maul just got aired out. I mean, it's not really airing out.
No, it's not. I would say, I was like, Maul would happily look at you and be like, no, I clean my shoes. We had the conversation when we were in Vegas for MJ BizCon. We were like, because I had some like new shoes at that time, and I think I got like a mark on them because, first off, Corey don't know how to walk. Like, I'm putting that out there. He don't know how to walk. This man scuffed my shoes like on a solid 4 times. I was like, can you not hit my shoe? Can you just not hit my shoe? So yeah. So anyways, Maul ended up cleaning my shoes a couple of times.
And during that.
You
know what I did in front of Maul? I stood in a puddle. One day I stood in a puddle.
On purpose?
Nah, it was when we were at Kiera's baby shower. Kiera and Noemi, the baby shower that they did, the whole video.
Oh!
Yeah.
Is it Kier? Whole time I thought it was Kier.
Well, that's how I say it. Do we pronounce it differently?
Yes.
Are we having a pronunciation moment right now?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Because you're saying 2 syllables.
Am I?
Yes.
Well, that's how I usually say it. Is it just Kier?
That's what I say. That's what I thought.
I do key plus air.
Yeah, I thought it was Kier.
It might be a Jersey thing. I might be breaking things down right now.
You gotta ask your friend. Am I saying your name right? Like, have I been calling you the wrong name?
I mean,
all this time?
As long as we're in the ballpark and it's still pronounced correctly.
I mean, you said it fast enough.
Yeah, I just,
Yo, that's hilarious. Because I was like, Kiera. Oh, Kiera's like,
no.
That's why I was like, Kiera had a. I was like, who is Kiera? And then you were like,
I put a lot of my words together. That's why
you said Kiera. and Noemi. So I was like, Kiera Noemi. I was
I
like,
don't pronounce the and.
who is Kiera Noemi?
Conjunction, I don't pronounce the and part. That's a very Jersey thing.
I mean, that was fine.
Yeah,
but it sounded like Kiera Noemi. So I was like, oh, this girl that I should clearly know. But yeah, no, that's fine. Because that's how we discovered you don't say Kier.
I don't. I just,
Kier, this is a point of contention.
Yeah.
Not really. I just want to start trouble.
Your word was so different from what I said, but I mean, I did technically say that to you. Though.
That was interesting.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, I'm very big on I'm very big on words, English spelling. Like I'm, as you had like said earlier, like I'm very, not particular, but like I think about my words a lot, and I very much so do. Again, for better or for worse, but like I very much so pay attention to what people say. So that's where I was like, oh, I don't know that one. And it's like I'm trying to I'm going through the whole Rolodex in my head, and I'm like, Kiera Noemi. None of them. But you stepped in a puddle at his. It's off.
Yeah, that's right. This camera's still on. There we go. Yeah, good job, me. We're still going. I'm still killing it. There we go. Make it wide. There we go.
Yeah.
Finish it off strong.
Instead of seeing that from there, y'all get to. You feel me?
But what were we talking about until that tangent happened? We were like in that bag too.
Because you were talking about shoes and stepping in the puddle.
Yeah, I was in a puddle.
And I was saying that I was saying all that to say that his shoe cleaning day is Sunday. Mm-hmm. He had told me, he was like,
he has a shoe cleaning day. Maul has a shoe cleaning day. Yeah. Sunday, the Lord's day. This man takes. Does he use a toothbrush?
That's his day of rest. No, I think he has like a specific brush. He goes to He
goes to.
He has a. I think he ordered this kit or whatever, so he uses that he's prepared.
I know.
You said that you're gonna be talking to Maul, right? So just ask him about
this. This
the fact that you didn't know that he played baseball, and now this.
This is amazing to me.
That also goes to show how much I've learned about him.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's what friendship sounds like. There you go. It's learning.
Weird.
Yeah. And also it's nice, there's a lot of layers to folks, so it's nice when I get to learn something. Yeah. I'm like, oh, word? Yeah. I'm always swinging bats. And then I connected the bats with the baseball jerseys.
Yes.
I still want a baseball jersey also.
True that too. And I never explain that. Like, we say bats because when you stuff it and roll it up, it looks like a baseball bat. But yeah, I'm not sure about that. And I'll have to ask them about the extra jackets and.
So excited!
Thank you.
This is so dope. I'd love to be an official, unofficial member. I love that.
Right? Apart.
Spiffy up a little bit.
Yeah, I know. Get your. Yeah.
How do I pay my dues?
It's a good question. Ask Maul. Maul is the man to go to.
I'm not surprised.
He's like the gatekeeper.
Okay, so where can the people find you?
Here. Sorry. I can't take myself seriously. But I would say you guys can find me on Instagram at No Shame in My Flower Game. That's
the dopest names ever.
Thank you. Yeah, No Shame in My Flower Game. I thought it tied well with, you're a part of Bouqé. Like, we deal with flowers. It was also that, or it was going to be No Shame in My Ganja Game. And I was like, you never say ganja. Like,
you don't. It's very popular.
Yeah, I'm like, who says I don't say ganja? So, I mean, yes, you and your Jamaican self, where we're gonna have the next talk, and then I'll turn into No Shame in My Ganja Game that day. Like, let me know. We'll turn into No Shame in My Ganja Game that day. But you guys can find me at No Shame in My Flower Game, or on the Bouqé page, of course, which is at rolling_bouquets, ROLLING_BOUQES. And Rolling Bouquets is on everything. That's IG, Twitter, Spotify. Because we do provide those playlists for you to vibe out to.
What's that playlist?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No.
Yeah.
I think you've mentioned it to me and I never inquired past that.
Like me with that content. It was like, oh, that's nice. Never look it up. Until months later, because I eventually did. But, yeah, no, we have playlists. Because it's kind of like, oh, you're smoking, you want something to listen to, but like, you don't know what. We provide that curated listening experience. Like our most recent one, the holidays just passed, but it was a Bouquet Crema Quanica. Yeah.
That sounds like an expensive dish.
Yeah. So it was very nice. It was the nice Christmassy season, holiday season music. We've also had one for Mother's Day. We had a Mother's Day bouquet. We had a homecoming season playlist. Like we're a brand that's about the culture, so we try and represent the culture in that same way. Like, what do we do?
I'm gonna start paying folks to document what you guys do, so I can use that content and advertise you guys differently. Just give me the dates.
Yeah, just let us know, because that's for real.
Yeah.
It's literally just like, what do we think is cool? Like that's what meetings are in a weird way. It's just like, guys, what do we want to come out with? And the things you want to come out with are like, what do I want? Because maybe we're just selfish and vain that way, or maybe I am. But I'm like, I know if I want it, other people gotta want it. Like, who wouldn't want what I want?
Other people gotta want it too.
Yeah.
Not just me.
Yeah. So that's where I feel like that's what Bouqé is. We try and bring forth that culture, even in our like re-up subscription service. Like we call it a re-up, like you do in real life. Like when you're out of papers, you want to re-up. So what do? We provide that subscription service. We literally will send you packs of papers every 2 months just so you can get your product.
So this
re-up.
is a real service. That's beautiful.
It's been.
I like that.
Yeah, that's where I'm like, I guess it's a thing that people don't really think about, and maybe I'll add that to the link tree. That's a thought. I'll just make that as a separate, because it's on the website. It's on our shopping page, but maybe people see it as maybe just another thing for papers. But no, we literally provide a set of like 3 or 6 packs of papers every 2 months, and again, if you need more than that, please just shoot us a message, because we want to also know, like, if it's not enough, what would be enough is like exactly. Yeah. So
I thought about doing that for I want to make a care package. I wanted to do it this year, but I'm creating so much content I don't have time to sit down and put that together. I think care packages are something that should be created with care and patience before giving it to the world. You don't just throw things in a box and say, here, take care of yourself.
Yeah, you do. Just do it.
I mean, you do.
No, just do it.
I mean, I've done
just
that.
like sugar, spice, everything nice. That's how we came up with the Powerpuff Girls. I'm sorry. I am not.
That pause was so hard, bro. I was like, yo, what you just say? But tell me, let's finish this off with, tell me about the importance of the term flowers.
The importance of the word flowers.
Because in replacement of weed, you guys say flowers. And I've always thought about how important that is to like brand your things correctly so you could bring it into other rooms. So if people are uncomfortable with weed, marijuana, call it flowers.
That term. Yeah, and I think that's perhaps like a question that would maybe even be better suited for Corey just in his creation of the company, because I know he wanted Bouqé. Like, Bouqé is his baby, his child. So like everything behind it, the aesthetics, the whatever, that primarily comes from him. But I would say our using flowers just as intentional in in tying with our brand, our theme, and how I said, like, you put your finest flowers in a bouquet. That is true. That's the case. So for us, we just want to draw that further connection between our product and what it is. But yes, also colloquially, weed is known as flowers, so it very much so works. We just want to, again, push that community and culture feeling, because that's, you know, another word for pre-rolls, joints, whatever, are bouquets. Like, that's, bouquet is, yes, it's the name of our product, our brand, but it's not new. It's the way we spelled it is. That's why people think we're bougie, but it's not new. Bouquets are we've just reinvigorated, repackaged the culture. Again, that's on the side of our little bats boxes. It says for the culture, and that's what we bring out there and put out there. So I would say for us, flowers are just tying it all in and representing the culture in just a really nice, classy way. And yes, being able to bring it into another room, I think, is helpful. But for us at the same time, I don't think there's ever going to be the super proper conversation about it. Like, if you're talking about weed, you're talking about weed, regardless of if you call it flower or not. I think that's another issue that you kind of run into in the industry, where it's like, what do you call it? Thank you. What do you call it? Like, I guess,
in case you wanted to put in this,
just so you guys can see who we are. We are Bouqué, our organic hemp rolling papers. Like I said, we have other products as well. So, I got off track again. But for us, I would say, like, it's a representation of the culture, and we wanted to do it as nicely as possible. And also at the same time, like, the Black community has some of the largest spending power. Has the largest spending power. And what do we like but nice shit? Excuse me. Nice things. What do we like more than...
I say nice shit in my private time. It's really fun.
We just like nice things. So for us, again, it's that representation of culture. For us, it's like, if I like the way that other brands look, that look flashy and nice, like, why do we get Telfar? Why do we get Brandon Blackwood? Why do we get all these other designer and nice brands? Because they look fly. Yeah. So why not bring that same feel to the smoking industry? Yeah.
That was beautiful. Well
Thank
done.
you.
I appreciate you. Well, this has been another episode of Mental Health Monday. Thank you, Alexis, for pulling up on me.
Of course. And next time, the conversation will be less anxious, hopefully, because maybe your girl will be diagnosed.
Girl, you know what I'm trying not to say right now. You did a good job, okay? Good job. Good job.
Yeah. I did, guys. Thanks.
All right, I'll see you guys next episode. Peace.
Be well.